Hello everybody, this is Chief Meteorologist Andrew Pinero here with a quick weather update video because we got some very interesting setups for today and maybe a teaser of winter this week. Did see you in the comments that asked, when's the snow coming? It could be starting today depending on exactly where you are. So let's head over to the computer here, take a look. All right, so what I want to get started with right now is on the Storm Prediction Center. There is a thunderstorm risk for most of this area, except if you get into more northern New England. Some areas in southern New England are still in the thunderstorm risk. Going south, Florida, up to it looks like maybe South Carolina a bit. There you get a thunderstorm, a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms, which is not high, but it's also November. So we shouldn't really be having too much severe weather happening right now, but that's not the case, and we've seen that recently too. So that's the interesting setup there with thunderstorms. Now, the other thing I do want to start to show you here on the surface analysis. So we have our low pressure, 1,004 millibars, so it's not the strongest low out there, but something's going on here where it looks like a bit of a disconnected low or a disconnected front, because normally fronts are always attached to a low somewhere. Here it's not, and it's so dense with information there I really can't make out what's going on in there. But that's the system we're dealing with. This cold front, this you can kind of just see here, this is a whole air mass, a whole big cold air mass we got going on there. Stationary front passing through the north there. Remember, we got counterclockwise rotation in the northern hemisphere. So we kind of know the direction of this stationary front is heading almost northwest. Now that didn't change temperatures necessarily. It's fairly mild. As of this recording, which is 3:20 in the afternoon, it is 60 degrees. So once this makes its way through, we get the cold front coming through, then we get our taste of some winter. And for the areas that the cold front did make its way through already, you're getting that now. So before we get to the radar, I just want to show you on the satellite here, pretty much the entire Northeast here is under some sort of cloud cover. It's really cool to see, and you can kind of see some boundaries right there, right in the cloud cover, just from looking at just straight visible satellite. You can see kind of where that looks like the stationary front. That looks like it right there. So that's on the satellite. Now on the radar. The National Weather Service radar is not going to give us all the details, but it is a bigger picture here. So the big picture, this is all precipitation. We have some rounds, it looks like, over New York City, over the Jersey Shore and Long Island, some going into Connecticut, Rhode Island, and around the Boston area, looks like some over Albany. So quite a lot of areas inside there, but it's not all rain. So let's take a look here. Now we're getting a little bit more detail. So we're on radar scope here out of the Binghamton radar. It looks like we have bands here. You don't always see bands of rain all the time without some sort of snow. So that idea of bands, that's what we're seeing here. We also see the Storm Prediction Center's convective outlook right over there. So up here, we're really not seeing any kind of thunderstorm activity. There could be some here, but look at these observations. Are those snowflakes? Yes, there are snowflakes out there. Let's head south to north before we get into there. So I'm going to switch over into Jersey. So this is what we got going on over there right now. So let me put this in motion. Rain is making its way through, and I can confirm this is all rain down here, the New York City level and south. So bands coming through, get a little burst of rain, then it stops, then another burst of rain. So it's not really going to be a good day. It was a better start to your day earlier, but now we're getting some of these rain bands coming through, so it's not going to be as pleasant the rest of your day. That's down this way. If we head a little bit more north, or northeast, we're going to go to Long Island, heading into this way. This is quite a line here, and this is why the Storm Prediction Center line up there ends there because there are some thunderstorm activity right across the Long Island going into really still the Atlantic here, but just off the south shore of Connecticut and Massachusetts and Rhode Island there's lightning being reported right in there. So we do have thunderstorm activity there. Going a bit more north, nothing really too much up there yet. We do see still that same definition, that line right there heading northeast. With those lightning reports. But I do want to head a little bit more over here. Let's go to Buffalo. Now this looks different, and I can tell already this is frozen. If we look down here and look at the radar, that's kind of standard. That looks like rain, at least when you get the trained eye. Now when I switch to Buffalo, this looks fuzzy. It looks more fuzzier or statikier compared to over here. This is one of the tricks that I've learned to identify at a quick glance. Is this frozen or is this liquid? This looks like liquid to me, but Buffalo, this looks frozen. When I put this in motion, let's take a peek here. Because we do get something called the lake effect coming off the Great Lakes. This is not lake effect because this is coming from the south, heading over the Great Lakes, but it looked like it was snow already. And we can switch this into precipitation depiction mode. Boom. That blue is snow. So let's take a peek at that. Let's put that in motion. So it looks like it was rain turning into snow again as it was. So it is having that Great Lake effect. But a little bit of ice flaring up in there. There is snow. And there's snow happening out there. And what's interesting is with the amount of snow, if I go back here on, I believe it was the surface analysis page here, yep. Heavy snow, greater than 4 inches. November 9th, today, high chance. There's your very high 95% chance. This is through 12Z Monday, so tomorrow. You can, especially going up into Canada, see a very likely possibility of 4 inches of snow. Specifically, this is 24-hour probability of snow accumulating greater than 1 inch. So this 1 inch, very high chance. But if you start adding up all of these together, that looks like it could get to that 4-inch mark, which the last page was showing. So snow is definitely getting close. It is literally, pun intended, not pun intended, on the radar. All right. So what's going to happen going into the rest of the week? All right. So on the tropical tidbits here on the GFS, we are seeing the rain, the mix, and the snow. So that setup looks like it's initializing properly. So if I start advancing this, there goes the heavy snow right along the U.S.-Canadian border. It stays rain everywhere else south of that and just into the U.S. border there. Outside, in the Great Lakes region. Maybe some mixing happening too. Then that low passes, and then we get the wraparound. So Finger Lakes could be seeing the lake effect with snow there. And then, again, with counterclockwise rotation in the northern hemisphere, we have straight north winds coming down. So it's going to get cold. And boy, is it going to get cold Tuesday. So this is Monday. The storm's still there, so it's not cold, really cold just yet. But look, it's cold enough to support snow in a lot of these areas, and we will be seeing flurries. Now, here on Tuesday, the 540 line is not even in this picture. Usually that's kind of where we think of the freezing line, but it's not the freezing line itself. And we don't always trust it in the fall and in the spring. But look at this. It is pretty far south. The furthest line I'm actually getting a reading on is 528. So this is all cold. Tuesday is going to be our first taste of winter this season, essentially. And it's going to get close to the New York City area with some flurries. More upstate New York, you're definitely going to see flurries, it looks like, on Tuesday. It stays cold through here. The 540 line does make its way back up, so it warms back up to a bit more normal, but we could see maybe 10 or 20 degrees below normal on Tuesday. There's still some flurries in the area on Wednesday, more up north, New York City region. Looks like it's still going to be dry, no precipitation for Wednesday. Here it looks like a bit more of some lake effect happening. Then it looks like another high comes in. We really don't see too much. Again, those flurries are possible. I wouldn't give it a guarantee on that. We don't really have our next system until here, which is next Monday, November 17th. And this is actually showing some frozen precipitation, specifically ice and sleet and freezing rain. Or is it just sleet? Where's the purple up there? That's still sleet. All right in there. And a little bit of snow maybe mixing in too, but there's a chance. Again, this is a week out, so it's still within the realm of acceptable. I don't go beyond a week with my forecasts, but there's a possibility going into next Monday here. So, winter is coming. Winter will be here on Tuesday. That's the gist of it. I also just realized that the screen wasn't switched, so you didn't see anything of what I was talking about. But you heard it, at least. You saw me, you saw my reactions. Everything I said still is valid. Sometimes glitches like that happen. So overall, just a quick recap. Today is going to be mild. It is, again, 60 degrees right now. We'll be having rounds of showers throughout most of the area. If you're more upstate, New York into the U.S.-Canada border there, that's where you're seeing by the Great Lakes some snow. Lake effect snow, we definitely saw that on the radar. And we're getting reports of snow coming in anyway. So there is snow in the forecast. It's very near the New York City area. I know I got somebody that asked about it, so it's soon. And some areas could see it today. Now the rest of the area, we're going to be seeing Tuesday, the coldest day of the week, and it may be the cold. Actually, I'm going to say it will be the coldest day of this season so far. 10 to 20 degree below average temperatures we're going to be seeing on Tuesday. Temperatures start cycling back up on Wednesday. We really don't see any big systems coming through for this week after today's system. Or I should say after today and tomorrow's system. By Tuesday, that's the backside of that low pressure. That's where the cold's coming from. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday really look like no big systems. There could be some little bursts of flurries a bit more north. Maybe some sprinkles or something later in the week like Friday. But nothing big until it looked like Monday next week, which is beyond my 7 days, so I don't really talk too much about that. But if you want to keep updated with all of the updates here on the channel, hit that subscribe button below and hit the little bell icon right next to that so you get notified when I upload videos like this or I go live. And also, to stay weather ready, especially because snow is in the forecast right now, make sure to get your emergency communications system radio, NOAA weather radio. If you don't want a full ham radio like this, NOAA weather radio is perfectly fine. But if you want to get emergency communication radio that is pre-programmed with the NOAA weather radio frequencies, hit my affiliate link below. I get a small kickback. It costs you nothing. And the person that is in charge of that, his name's Mark from bettersaferadio.com. He's the one that personally pre-programs all these radios. So one-man show there, and he is very appreciative if you can get any radios through him, and it also helps me. In case cell phone networks go down, internet goes down, you still have some way to get some emergency weather information. All right, that's gonna be a wrap for this video. This is Chief Meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Stay safe, everybody, and I'll see you all in the next video.